coincidence. This project was a series of coincidences and accidents. So I met Lindsay by accident over here the other half a year ago. So anyway, so that is what happened. And so one of the ideas of this idea was to identify a creative team. This is very ambitious, has many layers. It has to be in a very big theater. We need the space to give the dimension of the piece. And so it was amazing the people that come on my way. Volunteers, people charging very little. The church giving me the key to go there 6 o'clock in the morning. People making arrangements to be here today. So that all overwhelms me. I've been in isolation for quite a long time. So suddenly, here I am. So our idea, yeah? This now is open a box of worms, and it's changing from when I first conceived 14 years ago. And it's the first time I'm revisiting it. So, where else I have?
You don't need to say anything.
No, so that's it. So the collaborators have been great. What you're gonna see is all scattered. And I really want to give a big thank you for all the collaborators, for all the support, and for all of you to come. It means a lot to me. So, and the people up there as well. Even Danny's mother that is no longer with us. So, I'm gonna pass you to Orit. I've been working a different. I'm always trying out a different way of working. I'm very working. So I don't want to have a director. I wanted to have a collaborator director. I want to have a collaborators in all senses. So the vision doesn't go away from me. So Orit is my collaborator director on the big vision of it, and also the bodyguard of the vision. So don't let the vision go away. You see, so, and then we have Alex Murdoch that's not here, that was somebody from the day by day to develop the text, of the little details. I work slow, I work with the details. So that is the way that I'm putting together. I go and talk with this person, that person, that person, that person, and bring together everybody afterwards. It's been a lot of fun. We have lots of very good lunches. The whole money, Arts Council, the whole money went to
So hello, for those who don't know me, my name's Orit. I've been working as a facilitator of this process this week, and my job is to try to entertain you while changes happen, and try to give you a sense of what this R&D process has been about, and also the vision of the project in which this has been a part of its research. So very briefly, Alleluia is a project that began in 2000, so 14 years ago, through a residency that took place in Washington, DC at the Kennedy Center. And that residency resulted in a storyboard for a show, an ambition for a piece that would happen on a very large stage, as Castro said. And the storyboard is that thing that you can see on the red wall there and as you came in. So there's a sense of a show, and the structure of that show is really a montage of poetic images with different clown personas. So the starting point of this work for De Castro, as I understand it, was that people often have asked her, how is it that you have so many different clowns when most people just have one or two? So I think she asked herself that question, and this is the piece that came out of that. The focus of this short period of R&D, there have been two main points of focus. One is the development of the linking narrative of the white gown. And you probably can't see all the way over there, but if you just look in the top corner, I was going to say above Dean's head, but it's above Felipe's head, there's a kind of white line. So that's the white line. And on one level, the white guy's journey is the story of how De Castro discovers a new clown. And on another level, we hope, it has a universal resonance. as does the idea that each of us have lots of different personas inside us. The other focus of this R&D has been on beginning to realise the performance language for the piece as much as is possible in this much smaller space than it's envisaged for. But the performance language it's envisaged would combine puppetry, projections, magic and illusion, lighting, live music, big theatrical visual effects and visual poetry. So even to take a few steps in that direction has been a marvellous achievement of this, and we want to share all that with you. So this is what we're planning to do in the next half an hour or so. We'd like to give you a sense of that imagery that might be. One of the images is as fully realised as was possible in the context of a week's R&D in the small space. But we'll also, I'll talk a little bit about some of the other imagery that's in the storyboard. And the other thing that we're going to do is test out the discoveries around that linking narrative. So that forms into a series of scenes that would be in the context of a full-length show at different points in it. So those pieces that have been created, pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, we're going to test out that sequence and that journey. We really would like to know how that feels and works for you. But obviously there needs to be in-between stuff, so that's really my job, is to give a sense that there might be some in-between stuff, so the journey makes sense. Got it? Mm-hmm. Yes. There is lighting and everything which will make some parts feel more formal, but if you could wear the job of being very informal, and I'll try and do that too, then we can keep it informal. It's just that you know that thing where you put lights on and suddenly everyone has to stand like this and do things. Well, that's how I feel I need to. We're not going to do it like that. So, in order to get going, I need to tell you this. This is how this show, it's imagined, would begin, the Alleluia show. The audience are arriving into the theatre with the very large stage. The clown Silver is with the audience. He's an audience member. He has a ticket for the show, but it's a very cheap ticket for a rubbish seat. And he's that kind of a person who, once he's in the theatre, tries to find a better seat. So he's looking always to see, oh, maybe there's a space, oh, sorry, that's your seat, maybe there's a space there. So he's moving around. And finally, he spots a seat that's on the front of the stage.
That's a good seat.
Best seat in the house. So the audience are arriving, shuffling, doing their stuff. And then before the show begins, there are announcements.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Stratford Circus. Just a few announcements before we start the show. In case of a fire, there are emergency exits either side of where you're sitting, here and here. Please make sure that all mobile phones are switched off. There's no photography or filming allowed during the performance. And please, no smoking. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
I've got a bird inside of me. It's something so I just have to say something before I start. it didn't mean to start like this. That's a fault I have a very, very long time, and I don't know what that means. I have a bird inside of me. You know what I mean? It's like, quando a gente deseja uma coisa muito, esse desejo faz os nossos olhos brilharem de uma outra forma. E esse brilho no Brasil a gente chama a menina dos meus olhos. Know what I mean?
Sim.
It's like this bird. It's like a desire. And this desire makes my eyes sparkle in a different way. And in Brazil, we call this sparkle the girl of my eyes. I just had to say something. I couldn't stop.
So now we'd like to show you some of the images of other clown personas that might be in this performance. And we need to do a bit of setting up. So setting up people, you could come and do setting up. I have a job. This is my job. I'm quite sure I need to. Maybe I'm going to take it over here. Just going to hope that that's the right place. I can't really remember what that's done. You just heard about the girl of my eyes. If you could put the first slide up, I'm going to talk a little about one of the images that you see on the storyboard. These images were drawn by Roberto Mainieri, who's a Brazilian second designer and has collaborated with Picasso a really long time. Very difficult for me to be more interested than the setting out of. It's all right, no, you keep going. It's my challenge to be more interested. Next slide. So in the image of the girl of my eyes, the stage, remember the very big stage, is filled with images of eyes. And it's imagined that those might be a combination of projected eyes, puppetry eyes, moving pieces of installation, visual fabric, theatre, marvellousness that would have depth and conjure illusions and be magical in its own right. And then into that space filled with eyes would roll two giant eyeballs. And the girls of my eyes would be two ballerinas. Next slide, please. And one of these dancers would be the perfect ballerina. And the other one would be a clown homage to every plump girl who ever went to a ballet class. So the idea is that that image would be a clown dance sequence, or a dance clown sequence. And that it would be conjured through a combination of live action and projections. So we've begun a little bit, it's good. I've still got more things to say. We began a little bit to play with that. We didn't fully realise it, but as you can see, we've got the beginning of a giant eyeball here. And if we've got time later on, we'll show you some of the discovery of that so you can see how it might be. In the fullness of time. I've got to close the curtains now, so we can stop the slides. I wrote it down. Just a word about the music. So it's imagined that the music would be that composed by Heitor Villa-Lobos.
Heitor
Villa-Lobos, who is a Brazilian composer who was making his compositions at the turn of the 20th century, so in the 1900s. And it's imagined that there would be live music, a string quintet, and an opera singer who would be visible throughout, moving, crossing, often inexplicably. So if you could just paint those in for yourself, that would be good. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Good. That's it then.
a thought, a feeling, a thing. I feel like on top of a mountain. If my heart is a lighthouse, it's like if clouds come through me. If my head is part of the whole blue sky, this whole thinking, thought, feeling thing is coming to me in most unexpected places. Listen, I am an ordinary person. I pay bills. I go to the supermarket. I have a job. The other day, I stopped to look at airplanes, vapor trails in the sky. I create a huge traffic jam. And another time, I started putting feathers on my hat. For what? I went to pick up my girls at school with their hats on. Know what I mean? Maybe I'm losing it. But it can be. Because I feel good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, feeling good, thinking, feeling good stuff. I have a bird inside me. Oh, very good. That doesn't supposed to happen. But what all that means?
Before I do, just to say, imagine that image on a very large stage. And I think the feeling is that next stage of development for this scene and the work would be to explore how to inhabit that larger space with this very big emotion. So perhaps to collaborate with a magician or illusionist to help with conjuring origins around that image. Okay. While we reset, I'm going to show you some other images from the storyboard. Not really our intention that you should feel you have to follow these in detail, but rather give you a flavour of what's happening and what's invisible. Could you put the slide up? Thank you. So this is a scene involving another clown persona, Sosa, who is looking for the perfect chair. Thank you. Actually, he's looking for a character, and the situation is full of many chairs. Next slide, please. And you remember Silver, who you met at the beginning, his costume goes in the bin, and his chair gets taken. Next slide, please. And then there's an elaboration of the search for the perfect chair into a dance of chairs, a large-scale piece of choreography. Next slide, please. Until Sosa finds the two perfect chairs that, when they're together, make a perfect pair. Next slide, please. And then he finds a very, very long rope which he attaches to the two chairs. Next slide, please. And he pulls the pair, rattling tin cans behind them, off. And as we watch what we imagine to be the Castro Sosa coming off, we hear a voice from the bin where the costume was. And that's when Silver reappears. So that's also an essential part of the performance language of the show that you think is there but is here. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So maybe there's some images and then maybe there's an interval or maybe there isn't an interval. And I think this is what happens next.
It's not a bird anymore. It's not a bird anymore. It's something much bigger. Bigger than me. Bigger than you. Bigger than us! It's gonna be okay. Who's gonna be okay? Hey, the audience, who's gonna be okay? What do you want me to do? Huh? What do you want me to do a show for you? You're kind of in the middle for a while now. I don't know where all this is coming from. This whole thing is taking over. As water overflowing the bath, is slowly taking over everything. My heart is expanding in an unearthly splendor. Don't you put your words in my mouth. What's going on? What's going on?
And then other scenes yet to be devised. Next slide, please. And then here's one that was developed and tested as part of the residency in 2000 at the Kennedy Center. Rust, or Rusty, is the clown that you met with the birds and the oranges just now. So she returns, now with a bathtub. Next slide, please. And she sits to wash her clothes in the bath, and as she washes, the foam from the bath grows and grows. Until it takes over it, she's completely enveloped in the foamness. And then, thank you, she rises up. Next, please. And she's an opera singer, a diva. And then the whole thing lifts up and takes off. Next, please. And she becomes the figurehead of a ship.
They think that's not a bird anymore. No, this can't go on. Stop! Stop! Everything! Stop! These have to get off me. I can't hold it in any longer. Who is there? Who is there? Who is here? Who is there? Who is there? What?
Alleluia. And when Richard Alleluia was first imagined in the storyboard that you see over there, can you put the slides on please? It was imagined that he would be somehow a protector of the world. Next please. And that he would rise up and fly across the very large stage. It's much bigger than this one. Next, please. And that perhaps that's how he would appear to us. That's the scene that he would play. But actually, as he's turned out, and De Castro's process is very organic and doesn't have anything forced. Actually, she doesn't yet really know who he is or what he does. But we just began to play with what he looks like and also what he might do. Next, please. And the next. So here are some pictures of how he might be in the world. That's as far as we've got to with the journey of the white guy and what happens to him. And whatever happens at this point after that transformation, we imagine will be the end of the show as such. So that's the sweep of the journey of the white guy. And we showed you a couple of images along the way and hopefully gave you a little sense of what it might be like. Just before we ask for your feedback, we wanted to quickly share with you the very first impression of how the girl of my eyes might be. So just chill out for a moment, we need to faff about. Amongst yourselves, do faffing. Breathe, drink water, shake hands with your listeners. Harmony's helping us. This is like a scratch version. Aaron, I think it's with you. Oh, hang on, I'll just see if Castro's ready. We really yearn to have a bit more time to play with video and projections as part of this, but as any of you who've engaged with video probably know, it just takes a very long time to decide what you want to do, film it, edit it, render it, try projection and the whole process needs to start again. And unfortunately, our collaborator Dennis Lowe, who's made some of this film material for us, he specialises in, he does special effects for films, that's his background. Unfortunately had a family bereavement, so he hasn't been able to work with us this week, which was really sad, because being in such a black box for this length of time, we could have hopefully tried a little bit more, but we imagine that as part of the next stage of it. Anyone know any good songs? I want to tell you other stuff. Shall I tell you about the other collaborators, maybe? You've probably got them on your piece of paper. But, so Roberto's not been with us this week, but Amelia Pimlott, who's here, I probably pronounced her name wrong, sorry. She has been leading on the realisation of the design and making the fabulous costumes and objects that we've seen, including this rather marvellous throw it together in an afternoon arm. And she's worked with 3 volunteer puppeteers, Matt, Faith and Sabrina, who've been really fantastic, as Dr. Castro said. We've also worked with Doug and Aaron on the lighting. Winston has been a marvel there. Sorry, got to come over to my list. Who haven't I not mentioned? Dennis we've mentioned. Alex Murdoch was involved in, from Cartoon de Salvo, involved as a clown consultant on the development of those pieces that you've seen. I think that's it. So anyway, you've got a sense of what's been happening and who's been here. Aaron, it's with you.